Hello and welcome back to Spyro the Dragon once more. Two, actually, Ripto's right, whatever. Welcome back. Never said I'm the most intelligent person. Yeah. So, last time we did some stuff, today we're gonna continue doing it. Can you tell I have been away from the game for like a couple moments? Situations? Let's see, what are we... How are we performing in the guidebook? Haven't fully completed summer... Can we swim yet? I think we can, right? Yeah. So, we should go... We can't go do the glimmer yet, sadly. We need another power-up. I think that's the same thing stopping us in Idle Springs, so... Let's enter Colossus. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, let's see. Oh. Guys, I think I see the problem. The evil Yeti. I think they're trying to offer him a sacrifice.
A Yeti has been rampaging around our home, but we've managed to trap him by shutting all the doors. If you talk to the other brothers, they will open the gates and guide you to him.
Oh god, wait, this is the level where I need to do that stupid fucking minigame. If you've played Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage... Oh. Well, that's a good start. You would know what I'm talking about. Fuck. We'll see. Need to be using the... Maybe I should oh my god. Maybe I should have, told, the guy from the last episode, what's his name, Hunter, to, switch the camera mode.
By concentrating, I should be able to open this door for you.
Okay. Huh. I wish that's how it works in real life. Yeah. One fun thing about, Spyro games is that they're just kind of fun. One thing which I don't get, I do not understand why they did it this way, but the tessellation is a little bit off. You can see with the way that textures kind of align themselves when you get closer. I don't understand why they did it this way, because what happens is, you know, they shouldn't be doing that. They should just be correct. Whatever, okay. Maybe it was done for performance reasons, I don't know.
You know how to chant like this.
What are these statues here? Yeah.
Enemies like those yaks are too big to be charged.
Shut up. What level are we in? Did we miss a level? No, I was gonna say it'd be funny if we did, but no. Oh. I guess it's a good thing I failed the jump. If there has to be one thing that if there has to be one thing which is consistent within, the realms of 90s video game console warfare, it is kind of funny how quickly the discussion has changed, as time goes on. The funny part is,
each time you defeat an enemy.
Yeah, we know this already. Anyways, yeah, as I was gonna say, it's funny how quickly the discussions have changed and morphed. And sadly, I don't really have that much access to real-life information, and the information that I do have access to, keep in mind, in the US, oh god.
Hey, look what I can do.
Okay. In the US, right, where kind of the Nintendo stronghold, if you think about it, you could find, like, one smaller section with N64 games during the 90s and, like, walls upon walls of PlayStation games. This is because there were just a lot more PlayStation games and, more consoles sold, and because more consoles were being sold, you know, and the games were cheaper, people would buy more games on average. Another reason, it's kind of a funny thing, you wouldn't really know this unless you were either, like, you know, unless you were either alive during the 90s, or if you, I guess not alive, but if you were a gamer during the 90s, or if you, like me, talked to people who were. You would obviously rent a lot of N64 games, because they were cartridges, but for PS1 games, you would often be a lot less, you know, willing to rent them, because...
Remember Hunter's advice. You will...
I don't care, Zoe. Shut up. But yeah. You would just kind of... They're discs, and chances are the person renting the game before you is a kid. And you know how kids are with discs? They're stupid. Now, granted, I haven't fucked up my discs that badly, but that is because I am one of the enlightened few people who was super hyper paranoid about scratching their discs. Which I guess is better than the alternative, but still.
Even though I'm a vegetarian, I think you should kill that Yeti. He's pretty tough, though. In fact, I'm not so sure you're up to it.
I love how he says, like, torch the Yeti, but he just says kill. Okay, what do I have to do?
I thought the Yeti was tougher than that. I guess he was all bark. Anyway, I was just guarding our sacred talisman to make sure the Yeti didn't eat it.
Well, that's how the Yeti died. I love how he's all like, oh yeah, you need to, you know, the game dialogue is like, oh yeah, you need to torch that Yeti, but the guy can't hold back. He has to, like, proclaim, you gotta kill that fucker right now, buddy. Come on, you know. Ain't this beautiful? Look at these reflections. This is, so let me tell you something. Before we continue the story, the PS1 couldn't do, like, alpha transparency, but it could do additive and subtractive. And that made it so that things like this looked so bright and nice. The way this is done is that this is a transparent, like, this is basically glass, and then the geometry is just mirrored on the other side, on the underside. It's cool. But anyways, yeah, people just wouldn't rent games that much. On the PS1. I mean, they would, but not, you know.
Found that hockey is a peaceful and calming sport.
Oh, yeah. This is gonna be very fun. Yeah. Where? Okay. I hate this sport so much. By the way, this isn't the bad part, if you're wondering. This is not the bad part. Okay, so what you want to do... Oh, for fuck's sake. I hate this so much, man. No! Dude, this is the worst part of the game. I don't even... This is why I put off filming for so long. We have to get 5 points. I give up. Here's a little secret. What you can do is you can save state it. And I don't care. I do not care. Like, I'm not spending 50 years. I normally try to, like, avoid doing shit like this. To be fair, sometimes, especially when I'm playing on my own, I will save state to try something stupid that I know will get me killed, but... You know, it's for the whimsy. I don't know, just the fact this challenge even exists is so fucking annoying. Because all you do, keep in mind, it gets worse. I'm safe stating in this mod because I don't want to waste 50 billion years. Maybe I'll just cut out the, yeah, I don't know, man. I need one more, I believe. Can I even... No, yeah. This is one of the few issues I have with Spyro 2. It's that they focused on the stupid fucking mini-games so much. It is why, in my humble opinion, Spyro 1 may be better than Spyro 2. It is purely because the video game is, like, you know, Spyro 1 is very traditional. Spyro 2 is so...
Well done.
shit, I guess, in terms of, like... I don't know, I just really hate the,
Would you like to...
Yeah. So now you have to play against him. Yeah. I really like how he doesn't give me the thing. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to save... Fuck. Okay, let's try again. Okay, we got him once. I have an idea. Wait, we can go here. And the issue is that Spyro automatically, keep in mind, when you aren't holding any button, Spyro is going to, you know, go forwards. Meanwhile, that fucker can just stay in place. And he will always toss his thing to the, to his player. But my guy always tosses it somewhere else. Thankfully, you're not timed. But it's one of those things where I would stop having fun. Because if there's one kind of challenge in a 3D platformer that isn't fun, it's a fucking random-ass mandatory sports thing that you only have to do for, like, you know, hyper-contrived reasons. I'm aware, like, oh, you're really bitching about plot contrivances in a Spyro game, but, like, you're making me do the most boring thing in the world with awful controls. It's just miserable. And to think that, at one point in time, you'll have to, do a minigame that's even worse. Wow, makes me reconsider the whole, trilogy. But I mean, you know, no game is perfect. It's just a shame that Spyro 1 had, so many... Fuck. Had so many, like, high moments. Come on! Fuck you. Spyro 1 has so many, like, high moments, and I guess partially its simplicity stops it from having many, you know, low points. Because most of the time, it's the simple scrimbly-bimbly Spyro thing.
Well...
Please tell me you don't invite me to do more stupid shit. Yes, save. Okay. We still have one more to do. Can I? No, that doesn't do anything. That's annoying. Yeah, the level still isn't done. We have other stuff to do. I just needed to get this out of the way. But yeah. Anyways, during the 5th console generation, one thing which was kind of, I guess omnipresent is a funny way to describe it, because it's not serious, you know, but one thing which was kind of omnipresent during the time was the fact that Nintendo was kind of the underdog. And this is something I find interesting. It's something which kind of stuck with people, even, like, up until the Switch, you know? Even though the Wii sold so many units, and the DS did as well, because the console was kind of slower during a period of time when, like, you know, the N64 was, you know, because during a period of time when people really focused on video game graphics, it was kind of people, you know, it was less about, wow, Nintendo was greedy for having low graphics, but like, wow, Nintendo's such an underdog, you know? They made Mario Galaxy on the Wii, which is like a supercharged GameCube, look this good. You know, that sort of stuff. And, the truth is, you know, the hidden truth that nobody ever mentions is that Nintendo's always kind of been the same, which is the funny part. But yeah, people often assumed Nintendo was the underdog back then, kind of because, well, in terms of sales, they were. But, you know, what do you want?
Oh, thank goodness you scared that evil spirit away. But now it will hide in the statues. If you were to flame all 10 statues, I'm sure you would chase it away for good.
I'll do it right after I get all the gems. Wait a minute. But yeah, generally speaking, one issue I've always had with the whole internet gaming debates is the framing. Nintendo's kind of been the underdog, but they've never really been, like, enough of one to where I really cared. If that makes any sense. Really? Oh, never mind. This isn't my level gem count. Yeah, I was wondering how I could already be so close to 500 gems, but, then, you know, I realized. How many are we missing? We're missing 10. Which means we're probably just missing a set of gems in one area, which is good. But it also means that I don't know where they are. But now we got 2, 3. I think they're behind over there, maybe. Fuck. Oh wait, there's one part over here. Yeah. There we go. That part's done. So now we just need to find the other ones. Surely there's one over here somewhere. Maybe not. But yeah. I don't know why. I mean, actually, no, I talked about this earlier. But the reason why the 5th gen, like, of gaming is so interesting to me is because the approaches were so different. And that's kind of why the Sega Saturn kind of falls out of the discussion, at least for me. I like it, but in a lot of ways, it's, a somewhat different PlayStation, just in terms of the general approach. I guess it's somewhere in between. I know it sounds stupid, but it's like, you know, Sega was kind of its own thing in terms of it being dysfunctional, while it was also, like, hardware-wise very Sony-ish. You know, like, somewhat janky-ish at 3D in some ways, and, really good at 2D, just like the PS1. But the issue is that both of the systems were actually, like, good at 3D. I mean, as good as you would really want it to. The issue is that the Saturn's reputation was kind of, I guess it's a thing where, you know, people always say, like, oh, well, just release a 2D, you know, you can just release 2D games, it's not a big deal. And that is true in, like, 99% of cases, but, like, you've seen the way people talk about this stuff, man. Like, the reason why the Saturn had a reputation of, like, oh, it's a 2D system, it wasn't meant to do 3D, was because people saw a lot of 2D games on it, so that's what they thought. Even if it's completely wrong. So in a way, it does kind of validate the concerns many, like, execs had at the time, when they were like, oh, we don't want to, you know, we don't want to do the 2D stuff in the West too much. Sadly, yeah, we're done here. The issue you run into is, simply put, you know, oh, it's fun. But yeah, the issue you kind of run into on the PS1 is that, there are, I knew that was gonna happen. There are so many, like, video games that it's kind of hard for a community to form around a specific one, especially something as complex as homebrew. That's kind of why the only, like, real homebrew efforts we've seen have come from, of all places, the wonderful world of fucking... how many gems are we missing? We're missing just a few. It's why the ones we're missing... It's why the stuff came from...
I saw something.
Yeah, okay, we can't climb. That's sad. So I guess we can immediately begin either Sunny Beach or Hurricos. I'm gonna do Hurricos first. Yeah. What did I say? Oh, yeah. Like, Crash Team Racing is one game where there's a ton of homebrew around because its engine is just so advanced. But generally, the issue we kind of ran into is, you know, simply put, it's kind of hard to form a community around that, because on the N64, it happened again. On the N64, as, like, you know, even though I would say that, you know, even though a lot of people would say, you know, Mario 64 was, you know, the first game on the system and therefore struggled in some
We've always
ways.
had trouble with the gear grinders, but now they've set up force fields to separate us. If you can find diodes, you can use them to turn. I think there's a diode.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is, like, you know, Mario 64, as important it was for collectathons, like, I don't know, maybe Spyro 2 would be a good example. In many ways, its engine is really primitive. And the big reason for, you know, why some games are the way they are is, you know, the way the engine is designed. So, what you end up dealing with is a situation where the PS1 kind of has a lot of, you know, people being interested in a lot of different games. Thankfully, you know, not all, you know, they're just interested in a lot of games, and not all of them can be as easily modded. I mean, you can try modding something like, yeah, you can mod some games, but, like, how do you mod, fucking Final Fantasy, you know? It's a little bit tough to mod something that's not really, you know, in the same way. However, generally speaking, you know, I was always assuming it would either be Crash Team Racing or Spyro. And I'm happy it's, like, a game which generally looks really good. However, the fact it's a racing game does kind of mean that it's a... I guess it's a matter of time. We're getting custom characters already. Somebody should just flat out modify the movement so that they're reworking the character AI, but like, honestly, reworking the racing game engine into a 3D platformer-esque engine would be maybe a fun decision? I don't know. It's kind of funny, though, how, racing, you know, you think about it and it's like, yeah, wow, it's kind of funny how both, you know, Sonic R and, no, it's not. I shouldn't say that. Sonic R was dreadful, and its only value is in the engine, which could have been a fun 3D Sonic game if they were allowed to make it, and they weren't. However, instead, you know, we got a Sonic R. But with Crash Team Racing, it's a little bit different, where we got a great racing game, it's just makes you wonder. The same engine could have been used to make a more open-worldy Crash game. And yeah, I know. It's not that easy to reform a racing game engine into a, you know, sort of 3D platformer engine, specifically because the way you're supposed to see the world in a racing game is very... But, oh, I'm gonna... Okay. Geometry comes in a very ordered sort of way. You know, like, you're gonna be going through a track in one of two ways, so you can use some kind of optimization techniques, which you can't really do without the, you know, maybe that's a bit of an issue, but the larger issue is, you know, the AI, because in a racing game, you know, I mean, sure, you can rework your character movement, but you're gonna have to implement, like, an AI routine for enemies. Granted, a lot of these games have a really simple AI routine, but it is what it is.
Thank you, Spyro. You've deactivated all of the electric barriers. We've been guarding this talisman from the gear grinders. Please, take it as a reward.
Okay. Thank you. But now I have to continue exploring the level. But yeah, that's generally the way I see it. And I think it is kind of interesting. I mean, you can't really get the engine Traveler's Tales used, I don't think. We recently had a open source release of Slave Driver's engine without the, sorry, of Power Slave's engine, that being Slave Driver. Of course, without the, you know, copyright infringing assets. However, I think that, the engine would be really cool if I could, you know, see how it works in more depth. A shame that's never gonna happen. Fuck. But yeah. It is kind of interesting, at least, to see, you know, with, how these kinds of games work internally. But yeah. If I had to say one thing in regards to, you know, the humble PS1, it's that a lot of games, I feel, have aged quite gracefully in a visual sense. Because the PS1 has a visual sense that, I would dare call, like, kind of what you would expect pixel art to look like if it was in 3D. You know, it's very sharp, it's very sort of primitive. Raw, I guess is the term I'm looking for, but it's kind of like what I like, and the Saturn has a very similar aesthetic, while the N64 is just kind of very mushy. And I'm aware that, like, it is technically more impressive for a game to look, you know, to have filtering and such. But when it looks sort of uglier, you know, the N64 may have been the first 3D console which had, no asterisks to, like, its, you know, it could do perspective correction, it could do subpixel rendering, you know, it's,
Spyro, do you see that big building over there? The gear grinders are using it to
steal your electricity? Okay, sure, why not? But even, you know, even so, and I don't disagree with the sentiment that the N64 was like the first system which had 3D with no ifs or buts on it. It's just, you know, sometimes it doesn't matter that it was the first one that had it with no ifs and buts once, you know, the PS1 already had it with the ifs and buts. Yeah. Oh, I nearly got the cycle even if I got the cycle wrong. That's funny. You know, I understand the PS1 has a lot of, like, compared to the N64's feature set, a lot of missing features. But the same can kind of be said in reverse. You know, the N64 doesn't have it doesn't have any kind of media decoder. It doesn't have a, and I know some people are gonna be like, oh, it doesn't need one. It can decode it in software, but like, you know what I mean? It's like a different sort of thing. They were made for very different reasons, and it, like, I guess if anything, it just proves the fact that, again, I need to really wait and look at the cycle. But yeah, like, it just proves that you don't need hyper, you know, high-quality graphics. This is something which I guess Nintendo learned during the Wii era, and I hope Sony learns eventually, because Xbox hasn't. You can't sell a system based on its graphics unless, you know, you want to only appeal to, you know, the super high-end. And even then, like, you're gonna have a 3DO situation.
Spyro, you've done well so far. You can have this little trinket for good luck. If...
Yeah, oh. Thank you. But yeah, like...
The next glides get tricky. You'll...
Yay. As a big sorta, you know, fan of video games, though, I'd like to say I don't really care what system something is on, but aesthetically speaking, if it runs fine on both ports, chances are, you know, first of all, aesthetically, I'll obviously prefer the PS1 version. But also, like, I don't know, very often the PS1 version's kinda, I don't want to say superior, but like most of the time, even if both of them run fine, the PS1 often has more, like, I'm back. But yeah, that's generally how the situation is. Hey, buddy, wanna talk?
Oh, these gear grinder thieves keep taking our lightning stones. If you can replace them all and activate our generator, I'd be very grateful.
Yeah, sure, why not? But you know what, the episode's dragging on for long enough, so I guess we'll see you next time when we finish Hurricos. I know I'm saying it incorrectly. Goodbye.